Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Rangers Review. It's the press conference reaction video. Stephen Davis and James Tavernier have just spoken to Chris and the assembled media at the wonderfully named Alpha Mega Stadium. First of all, Chris, you sent us a few pictures of the stadium recently built, of course. I think it's far too big for the Aris fan base, I've got to admit, but what's it like?
It's quite a nice wee arena. Certainly not the biggest one that we've been on our European travels over the last few years, but it looks a decent wee stadium, nice and modern. Pitch facilities are good. Pitch, less so. The pitch looks a bit like a fairway that you see during a warm summer. I think they've played opens and surfaces that are as dry as this, certainly on the touchline. The Rangers squad are just about to be put through their paces by Stephen Davis as I speak. So we'll get a first look at a Davis training session. But hopefully the pitch isn't going to cause too much of an issue. Stephen was asked about the weather in terms of it's also quite hot over here as we discussed this morning, but he played that down and said no, that's not going to be a factor. I don't think that will come into it. It's round about just now, obviously in 24 hours time, and it's been warm all day, but certainly nothing that's going to cause Rangers any issues. So hopefully the pitch doesn't, and it'll be interesting to see the atmosphere in here, because I think if the Aris fans get going and the Rangers fans get going, it's got that kind of tight feel about it. It could be quite the occasion, hopefully.
Yeah, but I was speaking to the Cypriot lad Estelle to tell me just a wee bit of insight into Aris. He says that they have around about 500 to 600 fans roughly at games, so it'll be interesting to see what the makeup of the fan base is tomorrow. I'd imagine that there's a few thousand Rangers supporters will be making their way over there, I'd imagine, so we should have quite an atmosphere inside the Alpha Mega Stadium. Chris, what did Stephen Davis say his first press conference as interim boss? Was there any big talking points that emerged from that press conference?
In terms of the game, Derek, the two main ones are injury news. So Kamar Roof and Ryan Nico Raskin, have both travelled. They'll be available to play a part. So that gives us perhaps some insight into what team we can expect to see tomorrow night. I think, as we said earlier in the week, there's not that much that he can do to really make an impact in terms of personnel. But he did speak about just trying to kind of lift the spirits a wee bit, trying to get people's confidence levels back up, just to try and kind of elicit some form of performance, because we've spoken often enough in the last couple of weeks just how poor the performance levels have been from Rangers. So I think he's certainly looking for a reaction. That was something that James Tavernier spoke about as well, in terms of the players feeling that sense of responsibility. Now, they were obviously complicit in how the Michael Beale era came to an end. As much as the manager carries the can, I think these players have to take their fair share of the weight of that responsibility as well, and that was something that James spoke about. He said, no, the best way to try and answer that and to answer your critics is to put on a performance and to go and win the game tomorrow night. And as both of them stated, if Rangers can win here tomorrow night, it does put them in a really strong position in this group.
Yeah, it certainly does. He also talked about his discussions with James Bisgrove during the press conference. I haven't seen it just yet, Chris. I know he's just finished, pretty much wrapped up in there. Anything interesting to see on that front?
Really just going through how events of the weekend unfolded. Stephen was actually in Rome watching the Cup last week, and then obviously on Sunday got the call to say, look, could you come and take the first team for these two games? He admitted that being Rangers manager is something that he's had aspirations of, but it's come a lot sooner than anyone expected, and certainly he expected. So I was really just going through those that kind of timeline of the weekend. It's been a hectic 24, 40 hours for him, obviously getting the job and then having to do as much prep on Aris as possible, and also flying out here yesterday ahead of the training session that's just about to take place as we speak. So it's not been the couple of days that he thought it was going to be. He was planning to continue working through his rehab on his own injury. Now he finds himself 24 hours away from being Rangers manager. So fingers crossed it goes well for him. I thought he spoke well. He spoke in the manner that you'd expect Stephen Davis to. And well known, hugely respected player, professional. Carries himself so well, represents the club so well. So I think he really conducted himself in the manner that everyone knew that he would do.
Yeah, obviously James Tavernier was up as well. Was he asked anything about the former manager, Michael Beale? And you did touch on it a little bit there. Anything else of note that the captain said?
No, I say James really just spoke about that key responsibility that the players have, and how the best way to answer that is by going and winning this game tomorrow night. That was a kind of key theme from himself, and something that Stephen Davis said as well. So interesting to see how that translates into a performance, because as we've spoken about over the last couple of weeks, they've not been at the required level. They've not been good enough. That's why obviously Rangers find themselves in this situation where Michael Beale sat in the house and Steve Davis is on the pitch here. So I think the squad that are here, certainly all the fans that are travelling out and all the fans that are going to be watching at home, they owe them a performance, not just tomorrow night, but over these next couple of weeks leading into what's going to be a new era with a new manager in the dugout.
Absolutely. That is big news, isn't it, on the injury front? Kemar Roofe, I wasn't expecting him back so soon. We did touch on it this morning. And Nico Raskin, that is a boost as well, Chris.
It is, because I think it was looking like round about the international break and probably and towards the Hibs game in a couple of weeks for Nico to come back. So I think that's definitely a boost for Rangers. You can't have too many good players ultimately. Like you need as many options as you can. Certainly with Alec, Ray, and Stephen also just coming into the job, they want as strong a hand to play as possible, gives them as many options as possible. And there's a lot of focus on that middle of the pitch. Now, what is the best combination in there? Can we get some goals from there? It's going to be a really key area for Rangers on Thursday night. So I'd be surprised if Raskin having been out for a couple of weeks. I don't think he's in line to start. I may be wrong, and he may be on the team sheet tomorrow night, but certainly having him here is a boost, and having Kemar Roofe here is certainly a huge boost.
Yeah, there's an interesting comment coming in. I know you touched on it earlier that on the manager front, Kevin Muscat, a planned Zoom call was arranged. Jack Murphy says, any update on the Muscat Zoom call, Chris? Hoping and praying we don't appoint Gerrard. He's not the only one hoping that Frank Lampard isn't appointed. Any update on that today, Chris?
No real movement on the managerial front, and the club also have their short list of working through it. There won't be anything imminent. That's the one thing I've really kind of got from today. Don't expect a manager to be appointed tomorrow morning. They're going to all focuses on the game here tomorrow night and then the game at the weekend. And after those two games have been taken care of, there's also the kind of natural break of the international fortnight, and that then gives the club and gives the board time to really kind of work through the final stages of that process. So there is a short list. People won't say how short a list it is or how long a short list it is, but there's obviously names under consideration. We also spoke about them this morning in terms of some of the potential runners and riders. But the news that I had this morning on Muscat, that's the only update we have managerial wise today, unfortunately.
Yeah, and cracking picture of yourself there, Jack, in a hot tub somewhere exotic. So there you go. Lisa Nelson says, please don't have Lampard as our manager. So pleased that Roofe is back. And Charlie Hilling with the point, Jerry, what about Big Sam? Me and Joshua talked about that on the members Q&A show a little earlier on. That's came out in the news today. I'll just get your thoughts on it, Chris. Sam Allardyce was on a podcast, and I'll read you what he said. Quite interesting quotes from the former England Bolton and Everton boss. He says, told it No Tippy Tappy Football Podcast, wonderfully named podcast there. That'd be interesting. If they came and asked me, it would be an honour at Rangers, wouldn't it? A football club the size of them. Speaking to Alex McLeish and Fergie about it, it's just an unbelievable football club. Not that I'm actively promoting myself for the job, but clearly it's not gone well. He's only been in the job for 2 minutes, hasn't he? So there's Sam Allardyce talking about the vacant Rangers position. Chris, that seemed like a come and get me plea from Big Sam.
Even if it was, I would still be surprised, Eric. I know he's actually a name that has that's come up more than I thought it would. I've seen a number of fans saying, "No, why not go and get Big Sam in?" I think Rangers will go down a different avenue. I think we've spoken a lot about the profile of the manager that they're going to go for. I think it will be a younger coach, a younger manager. So I think that probably rules Big Sam out, as much as it would be blockbuster up here. I think for his press conferences, it would certainly not be dull. It certainly be good from a media perspective. but no, I don't think that's a realistic one.
Yeah. Right. What's the plans tonight then, Chris? Are you going out to see the sights of Limassol?
Plans tonight, we've still got press conference analysis to get written up. So you'll have the full Q&As from Steve Davis and James Tavernier. They'll be on the website just shortly. Press conference analysis to come on the website within the next hour and a bit, hopefully as soon as I can get it finished off. And the Aris coach and player will speak at 7:15 over here. So that's 5:15 your time. So still plenty to be getting on with, and might get back to the hotel for a quick beer before bed.
Class, that is a plan. Good stuff. Right, Chris, we'll leave it there. Thank you as ever. We'll speak to you again tomorrow in the build-up to that game tomorrow night at the Alpha Mega Stadium. Rangers taking on Aris. That press conference, incidentally, with Stephen Davis and James Tavernier, available on our YouTube channel, folks. You can go and watch it in full. As Chris says, plenty to come on the website. We've got a couple of offers on there just now. £4 for just 4 months, or just £18 for an entire year. Head over to rangersreview.co.uk/subscribe to sign up. Some two brilliant offers there at the moment, and lots of great content on the website just now. A lot of it focused on the managerial search. Okay, we'll speak to you a little later on, but bye for now.